we talk about this all the time. Like, a lot of who we are individually are because of who we've been to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, no one could say they love you or like you without saying they love or like me too, because a lot of who we are individually are because of each other. And I think that's so dope that we've meshed our lives and meshed ourselves so well together to where it's like, dang, we both have contributed to the great people that we are today.
Yeah.
And we both have no problem acknowledging that. I didn't do all of this on my own, and you didn't do all of this on your own either. It was a collaborative effort. And I'm glad that we have such a great working relationship. Like, we work very well together. We're a great team. And we know how to capitalize on each other's strengths.
That's facts.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I might be weak in a particular area where you're strong, but you never make me feel bad for being weak in that area.
Because I got your back.
You know, yeah. And you never like, well, you need to get better at that. And it's like, no, it's like, well, I'm strong in this area, so I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And the same for you. It's like, well, if you're not that well in this area, I got you. And I think that is such a beautiful thing that we had, a beautiful skill we've had in our marriage forever now.
I told you earlier today while we were walking, I was like, man, I'm so glad that I have such an amazing partner. Like, quite literally partner. Because I don't even know how I would navigate a lot of the stuff that we've grown through without you having been there. Like, we've overcame and dealt with so much, and I feel like we've been able to contribute to each other so heavily and all of that stuff. Because like you said, like, where I'm strong at, you don't have to be strong. And where you're strong at, I don't have to be strong. And we know how to be able to lean on each other's strengths and pick each other up in the areas where we're not as strong, and literally be able to operate and work through those things and find ways for it to just work for us. And I literally could not imagine having a better partner, because it's dope, because I don't ever feel like, even in us working together and doing different things and taking on certain challenges and situations together, I still get to be all of me. I still get to do things and think about things and address things the way that I think work and all of those things. And then you can come through and you can bring in your own little style and flavor and perspective, and you can help me be able to see things in a different light and be able to help clarify some of my own thoughts or whatever. And it's never been us trying to battle with opinions. It's like, this is how you're thinking about it. This is how I'm thinking about it. And then we come together and we find ways to like mesh that together in a way to where we can move forward.
Right.
Literally partnering up.
Yeah.
You bring your perspective, I bring my perspective.
Yeah.
Now, how do we approach this thing, being able to use the combined thoughts and perspective of the both of us? And we've always done that so well to where we feel like the decision that we make, we made it. Whatever we're deciding to do, we made that choice. And both of us got to be heard and felt understood and all of that stuff and whatever it is. And then being okay with however it turns out. Because it wasn't all on one of us, but it was us doing it together.
Absolutely.
And I think that's super dope.
I do think it's dope. And I think even in those moments, knowing that we both want what's best for each other. And we both desire the best possible outcome. And there's no secret bad intentions or no secret like distrust or disbelief in you wanting what's best for me. It's all love. Like, I guess that's like the best way that I can put it. Like, it's all love in the decisions that we make. You're annoying.
It's love.
Anyway, but it's all love in our decision making process. So there is, like you said, there is no power struggle where it's like, well, I'm the man, so I should be able to do this, or well, I'm the woman, and I don't talk like that, but you know what I'm saying,
Right.
like, but yeah, and I think that's so dope, and it's so beautiful that we have that.
I agree. It's interesting because in this world of content and putting out the type of messages that we do, one of the constant things that we always get is, how do I get my partner to do this? Or how do I get my boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, whatever, to be a certain way or to do certain things or to communicate like this or whatever the case. And every time I get hit with those types of questions, I always come back to the same thing. And I'm like, man, you actually got to care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody can make anybody do anything that they don't care about.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like overly simplified, but that's really just about it.
Yeah.
It's like we care so much about including each other, because it's not just about you caring about the situation itself, but it's about how deeply you care about the union that you have, how well you guys work together, resolving whatever those situations is. I care about how you feel going into a certain thing. I care about how you think. I care about making sure that the unity between us remains a priority. All of those things, like, and when you care deep enough, you will do what's necessary to get the desired outcome. And you can't fake caring. Like, the only reason a person doesn't change is because they don't care enough. And if you wanted a different result, the only thing you can do is care enough to change. Be that through inspiration or be that through desperation, because you ain't got another option. And if you can't inspire that change, usually you end up going with the latter, to where life end up happening. Some tough situation come about and it forces it, so to say. But I like the fact that we've always cared so deeply enough about anything that we were dealing with collectively, together, individually, whatever the case may be, that when those opportunities showed up, that was enough inspiration to get us to move together.
Yeah.
And to prioritize each other without it having to be a power struggle, because we care enough. If it matters to you, it matters to me.
Right.
If it's something that's impacting you or impacting our household, that's all the inspiration I need.
Yeah.
If my communication is off, if the way that I'm speaking to you, if the way that I'm thinking about a situation or whatever, or the same thing with you, if anything is causing strife, chaos, whatever the case, and it's brought to my attention that something needs to be done a different way, that's all the inspiration I need in order to care enough to do something different. Like, it don't take a whole lot. That's it. All it took was that one time.
Yeah.
And not everybody's like that. And that's not to say that I've always been like that.
Right.
Because I'm a dude. Sometimes we'll water things down and like, it ain't that serious. Or we don't hear it the way that we should have heard it the first time. It don't register as well. But I've grown to be like this. I was not always that.
Yeah. And my thing is, like, even in that, like, the fact that you say you've grown to this point, it's like, okay, if your woman is bringing something to your attention continuously, don't that mean you need to fix it? Like, that's why, like, certain things I don't understand in particular relationships. Like, if this is bothering someone, if this thing is bothering someone you care about and you want to be with, shouldn't you fix the problem if you're the reason, or something that you're doing is the reason that the problem exists?
Right.
Because maybe they'll shut up nagging if you fixed it. And that's real, babe. Like,
it is.
Like, if you're the problem, or you're contributing to it being a problem, okay, what is it about you that you need to fix to make sure it's no longer a problem so she can shut up?
Yeah. He or she.
Yeah. He or she. Like, and I feel like, I don't think it's like, in my mind, in my relationship, in my experience, I feel like it's not that hard.
Yeah.
To realize, like, oh, shoot, when I do this, they do this, and it ends up with us being like this. I'm the trigger.
Yeah.
I need to fix it.
And then you could ask yourself a real uncomfortable question.
Uh-oh.
if you really want to get down to that thing and like, why is it that you don't listen when I say certain stuff? Why is it that it takes so much effort? Why is it that I feel like what people say? It feels like pulling teeth,
Yeah,
trying to get you to do certain stuff or whatever. Like you ask all those questions, and then shoot, have an uncomfortable conversation. Why don't you care enough?
Because why be with me if you don't care?
If this matters, to me in our relationship, in our household, or whatever, I can't make you. But why don't you care enough? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
that's a good
can
question.
Stop right there.
Yeah.
And, personality is a difference. That might start a whole thing for some people or whatever the case may be.
Well, the truth,
but it really is. Yeah, it just is what it is. I mean, listen, I'll tell you all day. Like, I ain't here to save nobody's stuff.
Right.
I'm not to save your marriage, dude. I'd be quick to be like, nah, you just probably shouldn't be in this situation. Don't come to me with that. I'm not that dude.
Especially if one person wants it and the other one don't. Now, it's a difference if both people are like, hey, like, we both want to work on this, and we're trying to move forward. Like, that's different. But if only one person is fighting for this, that's a losing battle already.
Because I ain't finna tell you to fight for none. I'm sorry. Like, I ain't finna do it.
And I always find it, I know this conversation is going way left, but
Here we go.
I always think it's so odd when women hit you up and they're like, I would need you to talk to my husband and get him to do this. First of all, you hitting up some random man on the internet telling him that he need to talk to your husband to fix your husband? You don't see how that's a problem?
If I was that husband, I feel disrespected.
And I'm like, I'm a woman and I knew that's disrespect from jump. Like, what do you mean? What are you saying? I know that kind of went crazy, but
it puts you into this perspective to where you see, like, when stuff is really bothering the person, they'll go to the ends of the earth to really try and figure it out. Yeah, they'll desperation or inspiration.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate sometimes that it has to go there, especially when some people already know that they may not have the best quality people in their lives, resources, whatever the case may be. I know, people holler therapy. We done a lot of therapy and they all not created equal. Some of them make situations worse. Been there.
And you all, and even when you say go to therapy, you in therapy, maybe an hour ever so often. You back into the real world. Your environment impacts you.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Like,
so I get it when people feel confident enough, for lack of a better word, to reach out to other random people that seem like they got that thing figured out, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. But also understand that this is also coming with another level of problems that you might have just created. You can get some insight, but I'm not about to sit over here and hop into nobody's relationship because you're trying to recruit me to talk to your husband. I'm not going to do that. Because I know if he think like I think, going to be looking at you real sideways. But it's one of those things, man, where people will just start throwing mud at the wall and just seeing what sticks, when your back is against the wall and you're trying to figure certain things out. So I get the human aspect of it. I get it. We are human, and when you're trying to figure stuff out, you'll do those things. But the truth be told, man, is that the only way you get to that point of really being able to serve your partner and give them your all and show up and do all of these things is when you get to a point to where you care enough to be the type of person that will serve and care for and provide and love on and all of these things or whatever for your spouse. You have to care enough. And then the thing about inspiration is that is something that you can control by being the best possible version of yourself that you possibly can be and giving that to your spouse. And then I know I was preparing a piece of content and I was talking about this, is sometimes you just have to change the packaging.
Okay.
Sometimes in order to inspire your partner, you have to change the frame in which they see the way that you operate in their lives, show up in their lives, or function in their lives. For example, right? you got to this point in our marriage, or even in the beginning, where you was cooking, cleaning, want to do all of this. You want to do all of the wife stuff, right? and I thought all of that was cool. I never had that before. It really didn't matter to me. You know what I'm saying? Like it sounds good. Like, oh, this is what a wife's supposed to do. All of that crap. But to me, it genuinely didn't matter. Like I didn't care if you cooked daily, and I was fine eating whatever random stuff we had, or just going out.
Right.
You cooking did not matter to me. The cleaning also didn't matter to me. Like I would, if I want to clean something, I'm gonna freaking clean it. Like none of that stuff mattered to me. It was not a value, right? As life progressed, things got more complicated, dealing with baby girl and just all of our lives together, whatever. It still never mattered. When I really started to look at it differently, it's because when you learn how to cater to a person's values, and this is when all of that stuff started to be seen differently in my eyesight, right? I remember maybe a year or so ago, you were talking about, babe, you know, I know that you got this vision. I see what you're working toward. I want to be able to take as much pressure off of you and much weight off of you as possible to focus on your vision and what you're doing.
Yes.
So that way you can have less distractions, less things to worry about, and all of that stuff, right? I never cared about the cleaning and thinking about food and all that. I never cared about you doing it. The moment you framed it like that, in support of my vision and what I was working on and the things that I value, everything that you did at that point meant something completely different.
Right.
Now I was inspired to work harder on what I was doing, and it made me see the value in what you was doing at a whole new level. But nothing changed.
Right.
You literally was just doing the same stuff. But when you change the picture, when you change the frame, the whole picture changed.
Right.
And that inspired change in me. Sometimes you just got to change the packaging.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Because you can't make nobody do nothing that they don't want to do. You can't make nobody care.
Right.
But if you know what a person values, you can cater to their value and help frame it in a way to where it can work. And that takes some skill. And that takes some caring to even get that creative to do that. And not everybody wants to do that.
Yeah.
Which is just the nature of it.
That's true.
That was free game.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was good, boy. You better talk that talk. That was good. Because that's so true. That's so true. That's why I do a lot. Like, no, I got the household. Like, nah, I got it. I got it handled. Your vision is important. So how can I help you with that vision? That means taking less pressure off you at home. You don't got to worry about this stuff. You got to worry about shit. I mean, stuff. Just focus on the vision. Work towards that.
So that's a little, again, a little piece of free game.
Yeah, and that's what works for us.
Yeah, that's what works for us.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do that well.
Yeah.
And that's something I just paid attention to in like the last year or two, maybe.
Yeah.
So hindsight, you know what I mean? And we are over 10 years in at this point. So had you to try that same thing at a earlier point in our marriage, who knows if it'll work? Like it's one of those things that you really don't know how effective it is or how impactful it is until you're in it or till you've done that particular thing. But it's realizing, man, that we all work that way.
Yeah.
Because the meaning behind the things that we do matters way more. Like, we always talk about just caring enough and being people in our marriage that we like, that we're proud of, being those types of people, and then giving the best of who we are to one another. But that caring and inspiring and deepening that commitment and all of that stuff, it's a whole nother level of effort. And it takes some real deep caring, man, to even put the mental energy into learning a person like that. And you can't half-ass it.
Yeah. And luckily for us, it hasn't been a hard thing.
Mm-mm.
It hasn't been hard because we cared so deeply about each other before we even got married. We cared about each other as people, and it grew into something, more. So it hasn't been a difficult thing. I know when you talk about like putting effort and trying, like people, it can seem exhausting, and luckily that hasn't been an issue for us.
Yeah, because people these days don't about want to do nothing challenging or
Yeah,
exert effort.
yeah,
Like, nah, I'd rather just
yeah,
typical,
yeah,
average.
yeah, pretty much.
You know,
But
choose your battles. Life is going to give you some difficulty one way or the other anyway. At least in this scenario for us, we got each other.
yeah, I love that for us.
I love us too, baby.
But I'm gonna have to get on my meeting with my girls in 6 minutes,
Okay.
so we gotta wrap it up.
Well, it is what it is, So hopefully you guys got some game out of that, and you're able to use that, take this perspective, and make it useful for you in your situation, So until next time, family, my name is John Tron. This is my beautiful queen.
Adoria.
We one dope couple, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think about the show. All of that good stuff. And until next time, peace and love.